Ladies and gentlemen, this is TVP World. You're watching another edition of Military Mind, bringing you news from the front lines. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. Overnight into August 21st, the Russian military attacked Ukraine with 135 strike drones of various types. Ukraine's Air Force Command recorded drone strikes at 16 locations across the country. The head of the Sumy region reported casualties following a massive overnight Russian attack on the city. One person was killed and 3 others were wounded. All of the victims were residents of a 2-story building that was deliberately targeted by a drone, according to the regional governor. Russian forces also attacked a village in the Kharkiv region overnight, killing 2 people and wounding 2 others. Residential buildings were destroyed or damaged, with fires breaking out in several homes and vehicles. On the border with Moldova, the Tabaki road crossing was also attacked. Buildings and other infrastructure at the checkpoint were damaged, and the crossing has temporarily suspended the movement of people and vehicles. A day earlier, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russia had attacked another border crossing with Moldova in the Odessa region overnight into August 20th. Meanwhile, a Russian aircraft has violated Finnish airspace. According to Finland's defense ministry, the incident occurred on Thursday, August 20th, over the western part of the Gulf of Finland. Now, this is not the first time a Russian aircraft has entered Finnish airspace, with similar incident reported in May and June. Finnish authorities said the latest incident remains under investigation. In Russia, a drone alert was declared in the city of Perm on the morning of August 21st, with sirens activated across the city and residents reporting explosions. The local airport temporarily suspended arrivals and departures. Media reports indicated that smoke was rising from the Lukoil oil refinery. Ukrainian drones have repeatedly targeted the facility in previous attacks. It is one of Russia's largest refineries, with an annual processing capacity of more than 13 million tons of crude oil. More than half of the petroleum products produced there are exported. On the front line, in the sector stretching from Novorossiv in the central part of the Zaporizhzhia region into the junction of the Donetsk, Zaporizhzhia, and Dnipropetrovsk regions, Ukrainian and Russian forces are simultaneously conducting offensive operations. The growing trend of deep raids by small assault groups is particularly evident in this area. The terrain partly explains this pattern of fighting. Open steppe broken up by tree lines, rivers, ravines, and scattered small settlements. In some areas, combat increasingly resembles maneuver warfare, with small groups moving in vehicles and attempting to hunt down similarly small enemy units. More often, however, assault troops move across the steppe and through tree lines on foot. Drones remain the primary means of countering these raids across sparsely occupied battlefield. Now, fragmentary reports suggest that UAV operators themselves sometimes become target of enemy assault troops that have managed to infiltrate behind the lines. The situation is further complicated by both sides' attempt to demonstrate territorial control through the so-called flag planting missions, in which assault troops are tasked with entering different settlements and displaying flags to demonstrate a military presence. In one of the fiercest sectors of the Eastern Front, soldiers of the Ukrainian 24th Separate Mechanized Brigade carried out extremely challenging logistical missions every day under constant heavy fire and the threat of air attacks. During a routine delivery of supplies and fresh troops to the front lines near Chasiv Yar, a Humvee was struck directly by a Russian FPV drone. The armored vehicle sustained damage, but was able to reach its destination under its own power, and the crew successfully evacuated one wounded comrade.
Вилазиш, я тобі стріт даю рюкзак. Воу, є, я бачу. Ай, рука. Руку попала. Далік, давай на броню, давай сюди, Давай мене назад. Так, вони тебе заберуть. Так, турнікет, я стікаю кров'ю. Сар, тримайте. Да, терплю, блядь, 300.
Russian occupiers continues to attempt to attack Ukraine's critical and civilian infrastructure using Shahed-type drones. However, the defense forces' mobile fire teams stand guard over Ukraine's skies around the clock. Another example of exceptional skill and iron resolve was demonstrated by the commander of a machine gun platoon in an anti-aircraft battery of the 114th Separate Brigade of the Ukrainian Territorial Defense Forces. The man shot down Russia's attack UAV with precise fire from the legendary MG-42 machine gun.
Вот так надо работать.
Footage filmed by a Russian soldier as an infantry group was moving into position has surfaced online. The video captures the moment an FPV strike drone struck the invading forces, moving ahead in a small column. The incident illustrates a typical scene from the modern battlefield, where the use of drones by both sides has become a routine part of warfare. Today, FPV drones have become a widespread and commonplace means of delivering firepower. The intense use of drones make any open movement of personnel extremely risky, regardless of the section on the front line. Now, a clear and consistent trend is evident in many hotspots along the front line. The Russian occupiers' heavy armored vehicles, tanks, infantry fighting vehicles, and heavy armored personnel carriers are appearing less and less frequently in open, direct assaults. Instead, the Russian army is increasingly forced to launch suicide attacks using infantry on light ATVs and golf carts or on foot. This is a direct result of the coordinated, meticulous, and round-the-clock combat operations of all components of the Ukrainian Defense Forces, with Ukrainian drone pilots playing a key role in neutralizing Russian armor. In the hottest sectors of the Eastern Front, soldiers of the Ukrainian 68th Separate Jaeger Brigade continue to systematically destroy Russia's most expensive and scarce equipment. This time, with a precision strike, the 86th Light Infantry destroyed a Russian Zemlyadelye heavy mine-laying system, one of Russian Federation's newest weapons designed to rapidly create minefields from a distance. Now, thanks to the combined use of traditional FPVs and the latest fiber optic control drones, the occupier's expensive vehicle was turned into a burning heap of scrap metal. And with that footage, we conclude this edition of Military Mind. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.